Hello, everybody. Hello, YouTube. Hello, art history enthusiasts and visual culture aficionados. It's me again, Miss M, and I'm back with yet another video. Welcome. Welcome, everybody, back to my channel. If you've been here before, if you're new, hello. Nice to see you. But here we are again, and I'm here with yet another video. Like I said, today, I think I promised you an Eyes Wide Shut analysis. So this idea, the last one I did was part 3. Why did Stanley choose a book about sex and hoes? Today, we're going to talk about something a little different, maybe related to sex and hoes, but only indirectly. I might just try and work it into the title of the video. We shall see. But that's that. So I'm gonna talk. What are we gonna talk about today? Excuse me, I keep forgetting. What are we gonna do today? Today we're gonna talk about Victor Ziegler. Okay, from Eyes Wide Shut. That mysterious man, that mysterious figure from the movie. And in the last video I did part 3, I read through the plot of Traumnovelle, also known as Dream Story, by Arthur Schnitzler, that the movie Eyes Wide Shut is based off of. And I know that I think Stanley co-wrote the script for Eyes Wide Shut with somebody named Frederick Raphael. I've only very briefly looked at this, but some tell me that Frederick Raphael might be a couple of sandwiches short of a picnic, you know? I'm gonna have to look further into it. I'm gonna have to research a little further and see whether or not Mr. Raphael is, like what I said, a couple of sandwiches short of a picnic, a couple of bricks short of a load. You know, I can't think of any other euphemisms right now. But maybe, I don't know. I don't want to call him crazy, you know. But Stanley, either there's a problem with the author of the source material that he's covering in his movie, whether it's The Short Timers by Gustav Hasford, and Gustav Hasford was a nut job. And then I have covered Stephen King extensively. Sneezy the Snowman. You know, I need to, and in the case of Eyes Wide Shut, it's not the author of the book, because Arthur Schnitzler has been dead for years and years, and like probably even before Stanley was born. Arthur Schnitzler died, and then we got Raphael to work on you see, and everybody says that Stanley Kubrick's a misogynist. He didn't have any problems with Diane. He didn't have any problems with Diane Johnson. He had problems with Stephen King, Gustav Hasford, and Frederick Raphael. Now, I bet he wishes he could have worked with just women. But anyway, listen, that's why I'm here. We're going to talk about Victor Ziegler. And that's what we're going to do today. So now you can make the decision about whether or not you want to stay for the video. Should be interesting. We're going to talk about some shit. You guys, this is not going to be an easy video for me to make. All right. I have been communicating with Mr. Gershom and Mr. Richard. Not so much with Richard lately. I know Richard's busy. He's got those 2 adorable babies. I can just imagine like all of the, you know, stuff he has to do with 2, not 1, but 2 newborn babies. So, you know, he's working on his stuff. You know, if you haven't heard from him in a while, I know he hasn't made a video since that adorable Halloween video with the babies and everything, but you know, trust and believe, he is working on some stuff. It's not my place to tell you about it, but it is going to be interesting. I can't wait, Richard, if you're listening, Tankard of Tales. I cannot wait for your new stuff. I am excited. I know it's going to be good. he's been doing some research, and it's really quite exciting. So y'all, if you're not, please, for the love of Pete, go over there to Richard's channel, Tankard of Tales. You'll probably find him in the comments under this video. Just go over there, click on his little profile pic, and go over there and subscribe and hit his notification bell so you can see all the latest from him. And you know, that's that. So you guys, it's time. It is time, people. Go ahead and fire up the percolator so you could get your coffee ready. And you know, you percolate that coffee. Get your cup, get your sugar, get your cream, get your croissant, get your or what y'all call them in Britain, biscuits. You know, get in here in the United States we call them cookies. Go ahead and get your coffee stuff together. And if you happen to be British, okay, fine. You don't have to have coffee. You could have tea. That ain't none of my business. But go ahead and get your stuff together. Because it's time. It's time. We're gonna do it. I'm gonna present to you, dear viewer, dear listener, what I've got so far with regard to the Victor Ziegler character, and let's get into it. So let me do my church announcements, and then we can get right into the discussion. Returning viewers, thank you for returning. New viewers, thank you for being new. Subscribers, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate every single last one of you, all 949 of you so far. I know that number is going to get higher, and I appreciate every single last one of you. You didn't have to subscribe. You have no obligation of any kind, in any way, shape, or form whatsoever, to subscribe to my channel or watch my videos or any of that stuff, but you did, and it means a great deal to me. I appreciate you all. Don't forget, dear viewers and listeners, to like, comment, subscribe, and share the video, and especially don't forget to hit that notification bell after you subscribe so you can be notified every single last time I make a new one of these monstrous videos of mine. And you can get notified, and you can go watch it right away or put it in your watch later list or whatever you do. So I can't wait for the comments too. I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't know what I'm going to uncover in this video, or like what connections I'm gonna make. You can see it. I got 1, 2, wait a minute. Oh, this is the Eyes Wide Shut Wikipedia, but up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, honey, 7 tabs open, and I'm not gonna maybe spend too much time on each of these tabs, but we're gonna get into it. So with all that being said, yeah, go ahead, get your coffee stuff together. Like this little picture here that I thought would draw people in because it looks so appetizing. Maybe it doesn't, these donuts and coffee thing. Or maybe I should just steal a picture from Dunkin' Donuts where they, like I said, they got that delicious looking iced coffee with the straw, and then they harpoon a couple of donuts on top of that onto the straw. That looks delicious to me anyway. Or maybe just Nicole Kidman's Fanny. Maybe that will get me a lot more viewers. I don't know what to do anymore. But what we're going to talk about today is Eyes Wide Shut. And again, get your coffee stuff together, get in your chair, get comfortable, you know, sit by your window, whatever you do. But here we are. This is my Full Metal Jacket analysis part 2. And you might be asking, Miss M, why are we looking at your page for your Full Metal Jacket analysis part 2 video? Why did Stanley Kubrick make movies about unreliable hoes? Why are we here? What are we doing here? Well, because I got some good comments, and rather than doing a separate viewer mail for this one anyway, I just did this one day ago, so there's not too many comments, so it's very, very manageable. You guys need to know, as always, you've given me something to think about. Need to know. Need to Know says, there are some things that I find kind of strange. You point out that the Sarge is dressed up. Yeah, that's a uniform that I would think he would wear to a formal, not a march, right? And it might be yet another, Need to Know, and everybody else who's listening, it might be yet another continuity difference. Ain't no telling. Ain't no telling. But as Need to Know concludes here, this must be significant. Yeah, I think so too, Need to Know. And number two, Need to Know says that barracks looks like it could connect right up to the service corridors of the Overlook. Because if you haven't watched this video yet, Full Metal Jacket Analysis Part 2, I talk about the color of the walls in the barracks and how it's the exact same shade of green as the bathroom in room 237. And as Need to Know very astutely, points out the service corridors of the lower floor of the Overlook Hotel. Same goddamn shade of like that pastel sage green color that you've probably seen on so many appliances in the last couple of years, like kitchen appliances, mixers, blenders, toasters, you name it. It's that pretty, I love it. I love that color, that pretty sage green. And like Need to Know says, it looks like it could, the door, the barracks looks like it could connect right up to the service corridors of the Overlook. I agree. I sure do. I almost expect to see knives, Need to Know writes, hanging, pointing down on the pillar, and Halloran asking Danny, you know how I knew your name was Doc? Yeah, precisely. Need to Know. And then I replied to Need to Know, I said, you are so right. I found myself wondering what's beyond those double doors on the end of the barracks where the number 7 is. Y'all, hold on, let me see if I can. Yeah, there it is. Let me just cue it up there. See what I mean? This is what I mean. There's that number 7. All right. There's the exit sign. Happens to be in red with white letters and a red background. Same thing with the number 7. The number 7's white with a red background. And here's these double doors that look like they could be in the Overlook Hotel. And look at the color of the walls beyond these columns, pillars, whatever. It's that sage green. Okay. And then the floor that looks like blood. Ooh, yeah, you could walk right through there and get into the Overlook Hotel kitchen, and that's what I wrote here. And Need to Know says, it says exit, which I find kind of strange. Anyway, this was supposed to be the 60s, so before my time, right? I'm not old as dirt, Need to Know, and everybody else listening, but I'm not young anymore either. And I was around at a time when people, the 60s, were still kind of fresh in people's minds. They were not a distant memory like they are now. And I remember photographs, and I remember homes that still had the decor from that time before everybody got like, those damn, what are they called? Granite countertops. I can't stand those. And everybody, and before a time when everybody's appliances were stainless steel. They actually had color in the kitchen. They had harvest gold and avocado green appliances, and there was a lot of brown and orange, kind of like the Overlook Hotel. But the 60s were not as garish as the 70s and the 80s, but there was a certain aesthetic that I think I know what you mean, Need to Know. And I reply to Need to Know, you've just given me an awesome idea. Thank you so much. And it's because Need to Know mentioned the word exit. See that? Exit? There's that exit sign here. We might see more of them in the in Full Metal Jacket. And we know there's a bunch of them in The Shining. And I'm gonna have to keep an eye out for them the next time I watch Eyes Wide Shut. Okay? And Need to Know says, hey, that's what I'm here for. Wait till you see what I wrote to Gershom. And that's at the very end of this list. Tankard says, what if Joker and Pyle are the same person? Oh, Tankard. Oh, Lord. That's just too much for me right now. But you know what, Richard? That's definitely a possibility. I believe, anything's possible in a Stanley Kubrick movie. That I'm not going to, thank you for saying that, because now I'm going to be like, thinking about that a little bit. And he's talking about his Lolita research. That's why I told you, go click on this profile pic over here, the little circle, and go over to his channel, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. He's talking about Guy de Maupassant, and he was a very interesting writer and died from syphilis. He used ether to reduce the pain. He would hallucinate a doppelganger. Oh, See, this is why me and Richard are friends, because he has ideas like this. He's really awesome. So I don't know, Richard. I'll keep my eyes peeled to see what you got working on. Can't wait. New York Yankees fan, Full Metal Jacket Part 2. Yes. Oh no, and Part 3 is coming soon, or at least a film analysis or a coffee break. I've been working on so much shit to regarding Full Metal Jacket. And Eyes Wide Shut. I'm going to have to do a video where I talk about all three movies. The Shining, Full Metal Jacket, Eyes Wide Shut, because they're all connected. I believe. Thank you, Need to Know, and your comment about the exit sign. They're all connected. Okay? That should give you a clue. And I talked about McNamara's Folly, and New York Yankees says that reminds me of Forrest Gump. His IQ was 75. Okay. And Tankard, this is my subscriber count. 51 more to go. Yeah, I still got 51 more to go. Let's see what happens after this video. Thank you, Tankard. Thank you, Richard. I appreciate it so much. Guillermo Ibanez Gomez, 3031, coffee and thumbs up. Thank you, Guillermo. And then Gershom well, he's talking about the song Hose in different area codes. Thank you, Gershom. Ooh, ever so many hoes. Everywhere you turn, on every street corner. Yes. And there definitely are hoes in Eyes Wide Shut. There's Domino. Okay, she's obviously a hoe. But then there's the ones that are not so obvious. Kind of like Ziegler. Uh-huh. I said that out loud. I sure did. Ziegler. He might be a very, very, very exclusive hoe, but he's a hoe. All right, we're going to talk about it quickly. Not quickly. We're going to talk about it shortly. I can't talk today. But Need to Know replies, and he Need to Know said, wait till you see what I wrote to Gershom, and this is it. I think I know where you're going with Ziegler's name. It means bricklayer, right? As in Mason. A doctor like Harford could perhaps be introduced to the nameless elite circles, but just like Ziegler, might be the only person who he knows in the Somerton Manor event. Masonry might be the only way for a person like Bill to eventually meet such people and such places. And that's if Ziegler would think he's a good fit to introduce to his more clandestine circle of friends. Am I close? Need to know. Need to know. I don't know how close you are, but I bet you're not very far away. That's my feeling. I don't know how close you are. But I don't think you're very far away. Like Fred Mertz says on the I Love Lucy show, if it was a snake, it would have bit you. Ziegler, I'm thinking that Ziegler isn't part of the what you call the nameless elite. He works for them. He's a supplier, a procurer, if you will. Okay? That is his function. It seems to me, anyway. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. He doesn't seem like he really fits in with the old money classes, the aristocracy, those people. No, and that's who I think is. Those are the people who I believe are wearing the masks at the what you call the Somerton Manor event. Now we're going to get into Ziegler today. That's why you might have been thinking, why is she looking at the Full Metal Jacket comments? Because Need to Know mentions Eyes Wide Shut, Ziegler, Somerton. Okay, we need to talk about this. We need to talk about this. We know the plot of the movie. Ziegler Ziegler is an extremely mysterious character. Okay, we have him here listed as Sidney Pollack playing Victor Ziegler. Sidney Pollack wasn't just an actor; he was a director in his own right, and a quite accomplished one too. So, I don't know. I don't know what to really how to start this. How to start this, because Ziegler is supposed to be the authority figure in relation to the Bill character, Dr. William Bill Hartford. And this has also got me thinking, Bill, is he connected to Bill Watson in any way? Remember Bill Watson from The Shining? We see him twice. We see him not twice, but like we see him in the very beginning of the movie. He hardly has any speaking lines. He's just kind of there. That's another prominent Bill in the Stanley Kubrick universe in his characters. Ziegler. So the question is Ziegler, like Need to Know says, is he a Mason? Like, what does his name mean? I mean, I won't go through it with you. Like, this is where Gershom and me maybe disagree slightly. Gershom thinks it's, you know what? Let me not say what Gershom thinks. That's none of my business. If he wanted you to know, he would put it in a comment. But I don't know what to think of Ziegler's name. Let me just put it that way. I don't know. Me and Gershom, like that. That's one thing where we're not on the same page. We're not on the same page regarding the name, and whether or not his name means bricklayer, as you say here, Need to Know, that kind of doesn't matter. His role, his function. Victor means somebody who is successful at something. He's achieved a goal of some kind. That's Victor. Ziegler is the difficult part. Okay, Ziegler is the difficult part. It could mean bricklayer. It could mean tile roofer. It also could mean goat herd, or something like that. And that's why I'm hesitant to get into a discussion about the name. Okay, as far as bricklayer or tiler, that might be Mason, maybe. And you say a doctor like Hartford could perhaps be introduced to the nameless elite circles, but just like Ziegler might be the only person he knows in the Somerton event, Masonry might be the only way for a person like Bill to eventually meet such people in such places. Oh, in this sentence you just wrote here, Need to Know, there's a lot going on. We don't know the nature of an organization like Masonry if we're not members of that group, right? We don't know what goes on behind closed doors. We don't know what the secret handshake is. We don't know what the code word is. None of that. And I would say that the Somerton Manor event probably isn't a Masonic event because there are women there. As far as I know, that they don't let women into their meetings. So, I mean, if you could tell me more about that, any of you listening, go ahead. But from what I understand, it's a boys only kind of club. So I'm not saying that they're not Masons, but what I'm saying is what we're seeing in the movie might not be so much related to Masonry as an organization or any of the lore or legend regarding Masonry, as it is to, again, who is it that really runs the world that we live in? It's not Ziegler. Okay? Even if somebody's a Mason, that still doesn't mean that they're at the very top of the food chain or the totem pole. Because, like, what's a Mason? Well, a bricklayer. Or somebody who just works with stone and makes walls and monuments and whatever made of stone. That's a manual laborer. That's not an aristocrat. Or maybe, you might say, well, Masonry is symbolic of building and the whole thing. I talked about that a little bit in this FMJ video, and I talked about the square behind Private Pyle's head, and how the square Oh, Lord, wait a minute. How the square means building and something's being built. The reason that I'm not really concentrating on masonry at this point is that's not where my research and my reading has taken me so far yet. Who knows, in the future it might be. But the Ziegler character is an integral character to this movie. However, he's not in the original source material. There is no Ziegler equivalent in Traumnovelle by Arthur Schnitzler. Absolutely not. As far as I know, I read you the plot the other day in that video. There's no Ziegler. There's somebody equivalent to the Bill character, somebody equivalent to the Alice character, somebody equivalent to the little girl character Helena, and even Domino, but not Ziegler. And like Domino and Mandy, I think they took the one Ho character from Traumnovelle and like split her in two, and like half of her is Mandy and half of her is Domino in Eyes Wide Shut. Ziegler, nowhere to be found, at least based on the plot summary on Wikipedia of Traumnovelle. Now, Victor Ziegler, does he have his own page? No, he doesn't. I got to Googling, all right? And that's how I do a lot of my stuff. I let Google, people think Google is evil and Google only shows you what they want to show you. And if you want to find something, you got to go and rifle through pages and pages and pages of results, which I do. But like the first couple of pages of search results, like that's what the man wants you to know. Okay, cool. But I looked up Victor Ziegler, and this is what I found. All right, y'all. The Prospector. This is a picture that I found on Alamy. Okay, here it is for you. I'll put all of this, everything I show you, as usual, as always. I'll put this for you in the description box under the video. And this I found on Alamy when I looked for Victor Ziegler. Okay. And that's why people think that Ziegler means bricklayer, because Ziegel means brick in German, but Zieg means goat. So I don't know. I just don't know what to think. I don't know what to think. Listen, this is the Prospector, Annual of the Colorado School of Mines. When I saw that, my eyes popped open. Annual of the Colorado School of Mines, Victor Ziegler, A.B., University of Iowa, 1908, Fellow in Mining Geology, etc., etc. Okay? This picture is supposed to be of somebody who was named Victor Ziegler at the time. All right? You follow me? I don't know if I follow myself sometimes, but y'all let me know in the comments. Now, of course, I looked him up, and I found this book in Google Books. All right. It says Colorado School of Mines Magazine, Volume 5. That's the title of this publication. And here he is. Now, I don't know if this is Victor Ziegler or this guy down here. It's kind of hard to tell, but since Alamy tells me, this is basically the picture that Alamy shows us, just kind of darkened out, and it's got the watermarks all over it. But look at this, okay? All right, Victor Ziegler, Assistant Professor of Geology and Mineralogy, 1908, A.B., University of Iowa, 1909 through 10, Fellow in Mining Geology, Columbia University, 1910, A.M. Columbia. I don't know what A.M. stands for, or A.B., none of my business. 1910 to 11, Instructor in Geology and Mineralogy, School of Mines, State College, Pennsylvania, 1911 through 13, Assistant Professor of Mineralogy and Petrology, South Dakota School of Mines, 1913 through 14, Professor of Mineralogy and Petrology, South Dakota School of Mines, and finally, 1914, Assistant Professor of Geology and Mineralogy, Colorado School of Mines. Again, is it this guy or the guy with the glasses? I don't know. Y'all, you know what kind of work I've been doing on not Eyes Wide Shut, no, on The Shining. And I said it's about the Manhattan Project, and I said it's Stanley chose it because it's set in Colorado. That's where a lot of mines are, uranium mines. That's where 1/3 of the uranium for the Manhattan Project came from. Um, and what are the odds that I Google the name Victor Ziegler and try to find an individual in American history or something of that sort from that time period, or like an older time period, 20th century? And somebody, what are the odds of me finding somebody named Victor Ziegler connected to the Colorado School of Mines, who was a professor of geology and mineralogy? Because I'm trying to figure out how Stanley chose that name, Victor Ziegler. Stanley, and who else? Was it Frederick Raphael? I don't know. Um, I just don't know. But he chose that name because that name simply doesn't exist in the Traumnovelle novel. I mean, the name Bill Harford and Alice Harford don't exist either, or Domino, or Mandy, or stuff like that. But, you know, they do exist as characters in Traumnovelle, but their names are not the same as in the movie, obviously. And Victor Ziegler just isn't there. There's nothing to compare him to in the original source material as far as I know. So this is a completely invented character with a completely invented name, put there by Stanley, and I assume with some input or help from Frederick Raphael, who I've got my side eye on him. I'm going to keep an eye on Raphael, see what happens with him. I'll let you know as I find something. What are the odds of this? Of me finding somebody named Victor Ziegler? Again, like we talked about, this exit sign. Look at it. I'm going to enlarge it so you can see it. I was talking with Gershom today. We have, even, we don't agree on everything. We don't share a brain, for God's sake. But we have the most amazing conversations. And I was talking to Gershom about how I believe, and I read Need to Know's comment about the exit. Okay, and this door might very well lead to the service hallway, corridor in the I guess adjacent to the Colorado Lounge in the Shining, in the Overlook Hotel. And I said, wait a minute, Gershom. I just had a thought, thanks to Need to Know. What if all of these movies are connected? What if these Stanley Kubrick movies, maybe not every single last movie he ever made, all 13 of them, but like I said, the ones made after 2001, and the ones especially that I'm working on now I'm working on all 3 of them at the same time, The Shining, Full Metal Jacket, and Eyes Wide Shut. What if they're all connected through these doors that nobody ever opens, like this door with the exit sign above it? Maybe that door, like you said, Need to Know. You made an amazing observation. You made an absolutely tremendously wonderful observation. You said it says exit, which I find kind of strange. And you said, where does it say here? That barracks looks like it could connect right up to the service corridors of the Overlook. And I said, oh my God, Need to Know, you nailed it. That's it. I must give you your props. I must give you your credit, because that you are due the credit. I always wondered, all those damn exit signs in The Shining, do they connect to his other movies? Do the doorways under the exit signs in The Shining, or in Full Metal Jacket like we see here, or probably when I take a better look in Eyes Wide Shut, or Barry Lyndon? They're probably not going to have exit signs in Barry Lyndon, but but what's the other one that I have yet to watch? Clockwork. Okay. What if every door with an exit sign under it, or above it, sorry, is connected to another space, another filmic space in the Stanley Kubrick universe? What if this door, this double door, if you walk through it, just do a little thought experiment in your mind. If you walk through this double door under this red exit sign with the red background, you would be walking, just like Need to Know said, into the service corridor in the Overlook, or the morgue in Eyes Wide Shut, or you know what I mean. I'm working on this. All right, need to know. Trust and everybody else listening and watching, trust and believe I'm working on this, and there's going to be we're going to talk about some shit. Some shit that I might not be equipped or qualified to talk about, like with regard to really serious philosophical ideas, or quantum physics or things like that. We're going to talk about some stuff. We're going to talk about these characters: Hartman, Joker, Pyle, Cowboy, Snowball, 8-Ball, Rafterman, and whatever other character has like a distinct name in Full Metal Jacket. We're going to talk about them. They represent something. They are the personification of something. Okay? We're going to talk about it. It's going to be a whole bunch of fun, you guys. And I have to thank, I have people like my commenters like need to know to thank for these ideas. And then I take it and I run with it and I research and I read. I mean, I would read anyway. I'm just the kind of person who enjoys reading. But your contributions are extremely important. I believe I'm doing something important in these videos. Okay? I don't know how important, but I do believe I'm doing something important that has never been done in the way that I'm doing it. All right, there's film reviews, and then there's what I'm doing. This is not just a film review. This is kind of a labyrinthine project that I'm working on. Okay, and you guys contribute so much. My commenters, my regulars, my people under my videos, when you leave your comment, and that's why I want everybody to know it came from you. I didn't have this thought. I didn't have this idea myself. I got inspiration, in this case, from Need to Know, or from Gershom, or from Richard Tankard of Tales, or from Richland Law, or from Anno Domini, or from, a bunch of people. And I'm extremely grateful that you care enough to comment and to help me. Okay? And to give me things to think about. I can't express to you. I don't have the words to express what that means to me. This is a journey that we're on together. We're all thinking about this. All right. I'm doing these videos. I wish you guys, I know some of you have channels. I know about Richard's channel, but I know, for example, like Gershom, I don't think you have a channel. You do have an account, but you don't have videos. Don't be scared if you want to do a channel. If you want to do videos about whatever you want to do videos about, do it. What's the worst that can happen? Not much. You might get a copyright notice from YouTube if you mess up a little bit. That's about it. Okay? Don't worry about what you look like. You don't know what I look like. Don't worry about the sound of your voice. I hated the sound of my voice. And I still kind of do. Don't worry about whether or not people will think you're stupid. People think I'm stupid all the time. It's not going to stop me. I wish you would make videos too, or do some kind of contribution. I think you should, if you have the time and the patience and what have you. So let me get into it. We're going to talk about Victor Ziegler. Okay, this was just the intro, like the Colorado School of Mining. Do I think that Stanley was inspired by this? Do I think that Stanley sent somebody to the library and found this book with this gentleman's name in it and found out that he was the assistant professor of geology and mineralogy at the Colorado School of Mine? I don't know. I can never answer that question. And even if I had access to the Stanley Kubrick archive and I could spend as long as I wanted in there, I probably still wouldn't be able to get an answer to that question. Okay? But I do find it curious. Okay, don't y'all? Don't you find this suspicious? Oh my God. Okay, listen. I'm going to go do my own little coffee break. All right? And then we're going to do this. Nathan Abrams. This is Nathan Abrams' blog. And this is an article, an entry he wrote in his blog that's titled, Victor Ziegler, a postscript. So I'm going to go have a couple sips of coffee and I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about it. Okay? And we're going to talk about some deep, dark stuff. So get ready. And, God help me. And please, this is an area that I didn't want to deal with regard to Stanley. But I knew I eventually would, and here we are. Okay? So, okay, if you need to replenish your coffee cup, do that too, because I know I need a coffee break. I'll be right back, you guys. Stay tuned. Don't go nowhere. Okay, everybody, I'm back. All right, and here we are with the second half of this video, and I'm going to read to you this essay on the blog of somebody named Nathan Abrams. And Nathan Abrams, as it says in the first line of this essay, it says in his book, Stanley Kubrick, New York Jewish Intellectual. Okay, I assume that Mr. Abrams is also Jewish, but I don't know. I can't say for sure. Okay, but I'm going to read this because this is interesting. And Mr. Abrams here on his blog has he seems to concentrate on Jewish subject matter. Okay, as you can see in the sidebar over here. Okay, and I'm going to leave this, of course, in the description. You're free to look at it whenever you like. This is an entry from 2020 in February, before COVID happened. Okay, before it really hit us. All right. So here we go. All right, I took a deep breath. Here, let's do this. It says, in my book, Stanley Kubrick, New York Jewish Intellectual, I detailed how the character of Victor Ziegler in Stanley Kubrick's final film, Eyes Wide Shut, 1999, can be read as Jewish. In fact, in my follow-up book, I found the evidence that proved it. Oh my God, I might have to buy these books, who knows. But one thing that escaped my attention in the 20 years I have been watching, teaching, and studying that film was the level of his anxiousness. See, y'all? This is going to be an interesting essay. On one level, Eyes Wide Shut can be read as a film about status. Dr. Bill Harford, Tom Cruise, is obsessed with it. Note how he reacts when his wife, Alice, Nicole Kidman, points out that Nick Nightingale, Todd Field, is a pretty good piano player for a physician. He is extremely quick to point out that Nightingale is indeed not a doctor. Bill flashes around his state medical board card at every opportunity. Being a doctor matters to Bill. And he's right. In the movie, we are immediately informed that Bill and Nick Nightingale did go to medical school together, but for some reason Nick Nightingale didn't quite make it, didn't quite graduate or whatever it is, right? Anyway, we continue. But Ziegler is equally concerned for his status, and two moments in the film code this. The first is when the prostitute, Mandy, Julianne Davis, overdoses in his bathroom. Ziegler is convinced that what he perceives as an embarrassing problem is removed. Oh, shit, did I say convinced? No. Ziegler is concerned that what he perceives as an embarrassing problem is removed as quickly as possible. However, if he was so super rich as we might be led to believe, then why is it an issue? The second is during the long billiards table scene, pictured above. I see no... Oh, the little question mark. Okay. Where is it? Oh, yes. The second is during the long billiards table scene, pictured above, when Ziegler is afraid that Bill almost screwed it up for him by infiltrating the orgy. From this, and what he tells Bill, we can deduce that Ziegler acts as some sort of middleman. There's a quote here. I recommend that... the quote is from Ziegler from the movie. I recommended that cocksucker to those people, and he's made me look like a complete asshole. I guess Abrams's emphasis. Okay, he emphasizes the word. Which word is in italics? Those people. The word those is in italics. Okay, all right, those people. Okay. Note how he says those people, as one might say you people. Those people are not his people. As he explains, who do you think those people were? Those were not just some ordinary people. If I told you their names... No, I'm not going to tell you their names, but if I did, I don't think you'd sleep so well at night. Presumably, Ziegler does not sleep so well at night, particularly since he's fucked up. and hence why he goes to such lengths to shut Bill up by having him followed. And now Abrams here, Nathan Abrams, he's making an assumption in this sentence. Presumably Ziegler does not sleep so well at night, particularly since he's fucked up, and hence why he goes to such lengths to shut Bill up by having him followed. Abrams assumes that Ziegler is the one having Bill followed. I mean, how do we know that? How do we know that it's Ziegler who has Bill followed, and not like the people who own what Need to Know has properly identified as Somerton Manor, or the Somerton Mansion, or whatever. Like who owns that? That's the people who own that house, or the people who were at that, whoever was throwing that party, the naked party. Like maybe they had Bill followed. Or maybe I'm missing something. Maybe it was Ziegler. Like I said, I've seen the movie once, so I need to watch it again and maybe go through the script or whatever. Okay. So maybe Abrams isn't making assumptions. Maybe he knows for sure based on he said he's been studying this for 20 years. So is it 20 years or just a lot of years? He's been studying this, and he says Ziegler is having Bill followed. I don't know whether or not I can rely on that, but I'll just, take his word for it for now. Okay? Anyway, those people are the modern descendants of the sorts of people we see in the portraits behind Ziegler's head. All the best people, as Lord Wendover calls them in Barry Lyndon, 1975. And we, it's not just from Barry Lyndon now, is it? Because I'm a shining aficionado. That's what Stuart Ullman says when Wendy says, royalty? And Stuart Ullman says, all the best people. So that's echoed. Now we know, even if you haven't watched Barry Lyndon like I haven't, we know that that's in Barry Lyndon too. All right? All the best people, as Lord Wendover calls them in Barry Lyndon, 1975. But, Abrams continues, those people are presumably not Ziegler's ancestors. Okay. I don't know why Abrams assumes this, but again, for the purpose of reading this essay, I'll just suspend my disbelief. I'll take his word for it. Okay. So why are those portraits there then? As we point out in our book, Eyes Wide Shut, Stanley Kubrick and the Making of His Final Film, in screenwriter Frederick Raphael's first draft, Ziegler's great-grandfather is described as, quote-unquote, the robber baron. Okay. Raphael writes in the script, Old New York and New New York are meeting in the mansion which great-grandfather Ziegler, the robber baron, built. Okay, maybe I found him. You guys, I don't know. I found. Let me show you quickly. I found this Ziegler, Colorado School of Mines. Okay, assistant professor of geology and mineralogy, and the person that Abrams tells us, that Raphael tells us, is the robber baron. Ziegler's great-grandfather is described as the robber baron in the first draft of Frederick Raphael's script for Eyes Wide Shut. He writes in the script, Old New York and New New York are meeting in the mansion which great-grandfather Ziegler, the robber baron, built. In more detail, Raphael describes how Ziegler is old money and beginning to be something of an old man, but he still has the buccaneering confidence of a man who was once described as the rich man's Averell Harriman. Oh dear. Now, if you don't know who Averell Harriman is, I don't have the time to look that up for you, but this is significant. Okay? This is very significant. Okay. But the robber baron great-grandfather. Okay. I think I found him. All right. At this point, his first name is Frank or Francis, but it later changes to Paul. Only in the 1996 draft does he become Victor, an investment banker, and his wife is named Iona. Okay. These changes and the fact that Kubrick first hired one Jewish actor-director in Harvey Keitel and then replaced him with another in Sidney Pollack render Ziegler not as old money but as new money, a parvenu, nouveau riche social climber like Barry Lyndon. Okay. So first his name was Frank or Francis, and then later Paul, and then finally became Victor. Gershom? What'd you think, Gershom? Frank, Francis, Paul, and finally Victor Ziegler. Either bricklayer, roof tiler, or goat herd. I don't know. I just don't know at this point. Because Zieg, Z-I-E-G, means goat in German. But then again, Ziegler is translated as bricklayer and or roof tiler. Both very kind of low class, well, not low class, but working class jobs. I don't know. And he's an investment banker. Okay. But here, Abrams says he's not old money, but new money. A parvenu, nouveau riche social climber like Barry Lyndon. Okay. And I guess the assumption here, or what we're supposed to think here is that Ziegler's status depends on him catering to whoever it is that's above him, whoever it is that's the boss of him, as an investment banker. Okay, so Ziegler, Old New York and New New York are meeting in the mansion which great-grandfather Ziegler, the robber baron, built. Raphael says that Ziegler's old money, but Abrams here in this essay says he's not old money, he's new money, like Barry Lyndon. Okay. All right. And we continue. As with much in Eyes Wide Shut, those portraits are a facade. Did the Ziegler family really emigrate with them, or did Ziegler buy them lock, stock, and barrel when he bought his New York townhouse? That's an interesting question. Because we can't know that as the viewer. As the viewer, we can't know whether those portraits in the room with the pool table are really of Ziegler's ancestors, or like Abrams says here, or did they just come with the house? All right, I don't know. They seem far too classy for a man who likes to hang art objectifying women in his vulgar and oversized bathroom. I don't know. I think Abrams is, he's onto something here, but he's also making a good number of assumptions about rich people and whether or not they're vulgar. Okay. If you read the Napoleon script, which I left in the description of on one of the videos, one of my most recent videos, and you read the Napoleon script, Stanley, that he wrote all by himself, the Napoleon script, and you look at Napoleon is another one trying to break into the aristocracy, and I think nobody got closer than him. Nobody got as far as Napoleon, but you look at the Josephine character and the people, that he deals with, the aristocracy, they're disgusting. They have no morals. They are quite vulgar. At least it would seem that Stanley would view them as such based on the script. Okay, so I don't know. I'm torn here, but anyway, Abrams continues, or perhaps they serve as surveillant eyes on Ziegler, the middleman, the hedge fund manager or investment banker, whose job, like Bill's and so many other workers in the film, is to provide a service, making super rich people even richer, to remind him where he stands on the social spectrum, out of reach of the top. Okay. But Ziegler is also concerned for his own position, which Bill threatens, much as the newer Jewish arrivals from Eastern and Central Europe, like Kubrick's ancestors, threaten to undermine the already established one of the German Jews who immigrated a generation earlier. I didn't know any of this. I don't know the history like that, y'all. I rely on my research to learn new stuff. I don't know the history of Jewish immigration in the United States from, like it says here, Germany, or, Eastern and Central Europe. And I don't want to tell a lie, but I think that Kubrick's people were from Eastern and Central Europe. I think specifically Kubrick's paternal side of his family was from Hungary. Okay. But I don't know. So the German, I mean, what is Abrams saying here? And again, I assume that Abrams is Jewish. Is he saying that the German Jews who immigrated a generation earlier view themselves as superior to the Central and Eastern European Jews, like Kubrick's ancestors? I had no idea. Again, my people are ancestors too, and we're pretty low on the totem pole as far as the immigration thing. No, I'm not Jewish, but I think I've mentioned that my roots are in the Slavic world. Let me just say it that way. And here's the last paragraph, which is what kind of brought me here. Okay. Ziegler is acutely aware that his own status as the Jewish middleman servicing profit and orgies is not secure. He remains merely the court Jew. I didn't even know that term existed, you guys. Court Jew? Never heard it. But anyway, he remains merely the court Jew whose real-life avatar was Joseph Zeus Oppenheimer. Did you hear me? Joseph Zeus Oppenheimer, the subject of the notorious anti-Semitic Nazi propaganda film Yud Zeus, 1940, directed by Kubrick's wife's uncle, Veit Harlan. And that's the last paragraph of this essay, article, whatever you want to call it. You guys, what did I find? If it wasn't for me poking around on the Google and looking stuff up about Victor Ziegler and his name and what it might mean and the whole thing, like I said, this is where I started with my Google search, and this is what I found, and then I found this, but this is where I ended up. Ziegler is acutely aware of his own status, and, court Jew, Joseph Zeus Oppenheimer, the subject of the notorious anti-Semitic Nazi propaganda film Yud Zeus, 1940, directed by Kubrick's wife's uncle, Christiane's uncle, Veit Harlan. Okay. Now, let me do two things, okay? First, we're gonna deal with Veit Harlan and his film. All right. But first, I told you I found the robber baron great-grandfather, right? Look it. I think I found him. I'm not sure. The Royal Baking Powder Company. Remember when I was like talking about Fleischmann's Yeast Company, and I said, I wonder if that's, I read the name Fleischmann somewhere in one of my videos. I said, I wonder if that's the yeast people. Okay. The yeast, yes, the yeast people. If you're a baker, you know. They have wonderful products. Anyway, that's what's sold out here on the West Coast in California in my grocery adventures. That's the yeast that I get if I want to do something with like a bread or whatever. Anyway, let me read this to you. The Royal Baking Powder Company was one of the largest producers of baking powder in the United States. And you know why I'm interested in baking powder, because of the Calumet in The Shining. But anyway, let me keep going. The Royal Baking Powder is still marketed today. All right. It was started by brothers Joseph Christoffel Hoagland and Cornelius Nevius Hoagland in 1866. It later came under the ownership of William Ziegler and then his adopted son, William Ziegler Jr. Okay, now let me go ahead and click on William Ziegler. Okay. No. It's 1843 to 1905, was an American industrialist who was one of the founders of the Royal Baking Powder Company. He ended up suing his partners. His other interests were organizing Arctic expeditions and yachting. Oh, Lord. Oh, dear. Okay. He was born in Beaver County, Pennsylvania, of German parents. Family moved to Iowa. Okay. They had a farm, educated in public schools, became a printer's apprentice in a news office. Okay. A clerk in a drugstore, studied telegraphy and chemistry. In 1862, he enrolled in the Eastman Business School in Poughkeepsie, New York. After he completed his course there, he went to New York City, where he worked for a wholesale drug and chemical company from 1863 to 1865. At the same time, he took a course at the College of Pharmacy. All right, Royal Baking Powder, like it says up here. He ended up having to sue his partners, whatever. Indictment for bribery, yachting, marriage. Okay, died in 1905. And then his widow died in 1932. And why did I want to show this to you? Oh, Lord, hold on. Ugh. Marriage. Oh, damn it. I could have sworn there was something here that I wanted to show you. It was his page or his adopted son, really his nephew's page, William Ziegler Jr. Oh, Lord. Why must everything be so difficult? Hold on. Death, no. Marriage, no. Oh, hold on. He was a Mason and a Knight Templar. Well, damn. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Okay, y'all, this is what I was looking for. His adopted son, William Ziegler Jr., American business executive, philanthropist, polo player, yachtsman, and a thoroughbred racehorse owner and breeder. Okay, to the born William Conrad Brandt in Muscatine, Iowa, to the half-brother of William Ziegler, who adopted the boy at the age of 5 and renamed him William Ziegler Jr. Well, damn. Okay. All right. After his mother Matilda died, he took over her Matilda Ziegler magazine for the blind, publishing American Foundation for the Blind, and other charities. He married his first wife Gladys in 1912 and lived in the William Ziegler house. This is what I wanted to show you. The townhouse. Okay, wait, remember the townhouse? Hold on. It mentions it here. Well, where is it? Mansion. You are meeting in the mansion which great-grandfather Ziegler, the robber baron, built. Now, is this the mansion at the naked party? They mentioned the townhouse. Here it is. Yes. Abrams mentions, did the Ziegler family really emigrate with them, the portraits? Or did Ziegler buy them lock, stock, and barrel when he bought his New York townhouse? Okay, that's what I wanted to show you. So, he lived in the William and Helen Ziegler house on 55th Street, sorry. He married his first wife Gladys in 1912 and then lived in the William Ziegler house, a New York City mansion at 2 East 63rd Street. They had designed by Frederick Sterner in 1919. It still exists. Okay, and I think I just clicked open the link. Here it is. Okay. This was built in 1919. It was designed in 1919 and constructed in 1921. Okay. This is it. This is it in New York City. This looks like a, nice place to live. He sold it to David Belasco. Who is he? Hold on. The William Ziegler house is a former mansion. It's 2 East 63rd Street on the Upper East Side of Manhattan in New York City. It was designed by Frederick Sterner in 1919 for William Ziegler Jr. and constructed by 1921. He sold it to David Belasco for, I guess Ziegler, sold it to David Belasco for a 300-bed actors hospital in 1926, then to Woolworth's relative Norman Bailey Woolworth in 1929, who then donated it to the New York Academy of Sciences in about 1949. They listed it for sale in 2001, but it didn't sell until 2005 when billionaire Leonard Blavatnik bought it for $31 million, who then said it was an investment for his Access Industries. It was still unoccupied in 2008. Okay, cool. So that's the William Ziegler house. And then there's the William and Helen Ziegler house. Okay, which is another beautiful looking house. This is located at 116 East 55th Street, between Park and Lexington Avenues in the Midtown neighborhood of Manhattan, New York City. And it was built from 1926 to 27 and was designed by William Lawrence Bottomley in the Neo-Georgian style, which Bottomley specialized in during the 1920s and 30s. Okay. 37.5 foot wide house, 4.5-story facade, features Flemish blonde brickwork and burnt leaders, splayed lintels and end coins, along with paneled wood shutters and a gray slate roof that is steeply pitched with set-in dormer windows and end chimneys. Okay. He lived in the house until 1958. After which it was converted into offices for Welton Beckett's New York architecture branch. It was then purchased by the Radio Advertising Bureau in 1962, then Allied Bank International from 69 to 86, BBVA's Ancla Investments from 86 to 2001, then TIAA, Teachers Insurance and Annuity Association. Okay. In March 2001, the building was designated a New York City landmark on May 1st, 2001, currently used by the State University of New York as the SUNY Global Center, which houses the Levin Graduate Institute and International Relations and Commerce. Okay, you can look these addresses up. You can look at, and you can find old pictures of them. These are pretty houses. These are beautiful houses. But is this the townhouse? Whether it's the William and Helen Ziegler house or just the William Ziegler house on 63rd Street, East 63rd Street, is that the townhouse that this guy's referring to here? Is this, did I find the robber baron great-great-grandfather or great-grandfather? Sorry. I don't know. I really don't know. Great-grandfather, robber baron, mansion, townhouse. I don't know what to think, you guys. I don't know what to think. Did I find the Ziegler that the movie Ziegler is based on? William Ziegler and William Ziegler Jr., Royal Baking Powder Company? I don't know. I just don't know. But, y'all, let me know what you think. I'm not sure whether I found anything, but this essay by Nathan Abrams is extremely important. Now, first I said I think I found great-grandfather robber baron Ziegler. And now this last paragraph, okay? I hope you've replenished your coffee cup because, we got some shit to talk about. This is difficult. Remember Joseph Seuss Oppenheimer, 1698 to 1738, was a German Jewish banker and court Jew. Again, what the hell is a court Jew? I need to figure this out. In early modern Europe, particularly in Germany, a court Jew or court factor was a Jewish banker who handled the finances of or lent money to royalty and nobility. In return for their services, court Jews gained social privileges, including, in some cases, being granted noble status. Oh, I did not know this. Now we know. Okay. Anyway, he was a German Jewish banker and court Jew for Duke Karl Alexander of Württemberg in Stuttgart. Okay. Throughout his career, Oppenheimer made scores of powerful enemies, some of whom conspired to bring about his arrest and execution after Karl Alexander's death. In the centuries since his execution, Oppenheimer's rise and fall have been treated in two notable, excuse me. Let me try that again. In the centuries since his execution, Oppenheimer's rise and fall have been treated in two notable literary works, and his ordeal inspired two films, including the anti-Semitic production Jutsus, released in Nazi Germany in 1940, itself the cause for a famous post-war trial. Oh my. Okay, now, I don't know if I want to read all of this, but I definitely will leave this for you in the description. Okay. He was executed February 4th, 1738, given a final chance to convert to Christianity. Oh my God. Why would they do that? Like, what did this man do? All right. He made enemies. All right. Did he make enemies of the aristocracy? His protector, Karl Alexander, died suddenly on March 12, 1737. Oppenheimer was arrested and accused of various crimes, including fraud, embezzlement, treason, lecherous relations with various women, and accepting bribes. While some Jews tried to help him during the trial, others gave incriminatory testimonies against him. The charge of lechery was dropped in order to protect reputable women. Oh, shit. I didn't know, like, the world has changed, hasn't it? Like, is lechery, can you be tried for lechery anymore? I don't know. After the heavily publicized trial, Oppenheimer was sentenced to death without naming any specific crime. Oh my God. When his jailers asked that he convert to Christianity, he refused. He was executed because his prosecutors found him guilty of wielding excessive political power and undermining the position of the Württemberg estates. Stände. Okay. Now wait a minute. Now. What the hell? First of all, you guys. Veit Harlan, Christiane Kubrick's uncle, directed the movie based on this man's life, which was an anti-Semitic movie released in 1940, as it says in the first. In the first paragraph, first part of this Wikipedia article here, 1940. So we have a Kubrick connection, and the dude's last name anyway, is Oppenheimer, Joseph Zeus Oppenheimer. Now, you know why my eyes popped out of my head when I saw the name Oppenheimer. Because of my work, especially lately with regard to The Shining, and I think it's really about the Manhattan Project. And who ran the Los Alamos laboratory? Well, Julius Robert Oppenheimer. Okay. Y'all, I knew. That's why I said this is a difficult video to make. I knew about, Stanley Kubrick was married to Christiane, and Christiane's family was involved in some Nazi stuff. I had heard about that. I didn't know quite the extent of it, and I still don't know the extent of it. But it's very odd, isn't it, for a man who was born into a Jewish family, raised by two Jewish parents, to marry a woman who is from a family of people that worked for the Nazis. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense now, does it? That's part of Kubrick's life that just isn't really explained or discussed. I need to maybe look some stuff up, do some research. Like, if you were Jewish, even if you were like just not a practicing Jew or whatever, why the hell would you have anything to do with anybody who's connected to Nazis? In Kubrick's case, his wife, Christiane. And he made a movie about this guy, Joseph Zeus Oppenheimer. Okay. All right. And they killed him. This Zeus Oppenheimer. He's led to the gallows, given a final chance to convert to Christianity. Would that have saved him? Something tells me no, it wouldn't. But whatever. He was throttled, and his last words reportedly being the Jewish prayer, Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. Wow. Oh, I don't know much about this man's life, but I'm feeling pretty sorry for him. Like, what was his crime? Lechery? And they dropped it because to protect reputable women? Oh, like the one in Eyes Wide Shut, like the ones in Eyes Wide Shut, those reputable women? Like Alice? Oh, come on. Um, the case records were then declared secret. Oh, really? Oh, really? They were declared secret until 1918. Well, okay. His corpse was gibbeted in a cage that hung outside of Stuttgart in the Pragsattel district for 6 years. Until the inauguration of Karl Eugen, Duke of Württemberg, who in his first act as ruler permitted the burial of his corpse below the gallows. What's gibbeted? Is an instrument of public execution. So they just let his corpse rot in a cage for 6 years? Like, this man obviously pissed a lot of people off. They were mad at him. They were mad at him. Oh my God. Anyway, now let me look. Now you know a little bit about Josef Seuss, Oppenheimer's life. He is what we call, now that we know the term, now that I know the term, court Jew, for Duke Karl Alexander of Württemberg and Stuttgart. Okay. He was a banker and court Jew. He made a lot of enemies. How he did that, they don't say that in this Wikipedia article now, do they? Okay. Now let me see the Wikipedia page about the movie that Veit Harland directed. Okay. Jutsus, which means Zeus the Jew. Okay. Is a 1940 Nazi German historical drama and propaganda film produced by Terra Film at the behest of Joseph Goebbels. It is considered, listen to this, people, listen to this. It is considered one of the most anti-Semitic films of all time. The film was directed by Veit Harlan, who wrote the screenplay with Eberhard Wolfgang Müller and Ludwig Metzger. The leading roles were played by Ferdinand Marion and Harlan's wife Christina Söderbaum. Werner Krauss and Heinrich George played key supporting roles. Okay, the film has been characterized as one of the most notorious and successful pieces of anti-Semitic film propaganda produced in Nazi Germany. It was a great success in Germany and was seen by 20 million people. Although its budget of 2 million Reichsmarks was considered high for films of that era, the box office receipts of 6.5 million Reichsmarks made it a financial success. Heinrich Himmler urged the members of the SS and police to see it. Oh my goodness. After the war, some of the leading cast members were brought to trial as part of the denazification process. They generally defended their participation in the film on the grounds that they had only done so under duress. Despite significant evidence to support their arguments, Susan Tegel, author of Nazis in the Cinema, characterizes their post-war attempts to distance themselves from the film as crass and self-serving. She argues that their motives for accepting the roles seem to have been more driven by opportunistic ambition than by anti-Semitism. That's just sad. I mean, how do we judge these people? The people who participated in the creation of a film like this. I mean, I see what Susan Tegel, is saying, the author of Nazis in the Cinema. Like, a lot of people in regimes like that, they do stuff because they have no choice but to do it. And if they don't do it, they know they're going to suffer maybe even the ultimate punishment, maybe death. That was how it was in communism. And I know that because I have plenty of family members who lived under pretty oppressive communist regime. You didn't question the government. So maybe they had no choice but to do the movie, or maybe they were just opportunistic and greedy. And I say that because, like, okay, maybe some of them were anti-Semitic. But again, Kubrick married this man's niece. Kubrick's a Jew. I think, like I said, I think a Hungarian Jew. Who, again, he was an atheist. I don't think he was bar mitzvahed, but that doesn't matter. His family was from that culture. So what was he doing? Marrying Christiane. This is something that, like, people don't really want to talk about when it comes to Kubrick. Because this is difficult subject matter. Really difficult subject matter. Okay, let's keep it moving. Harlan, okay, Christiane's uncle, was the only major movie director of the Third Reich to stand trial for crimes against humanity. Oh my God. After 3 trials, he was given a light sentence because he convinced the courts that the anti-Semitic content of the film had been dictated by Goebbels, and that Harlan had worked to moderate the anti-Semitism. Eventually, Harlan was reinstated as a citizen of the Federal Republic of Germany and made 9 more films. He remained a controversial figure and the target of protests. Oh Lord! Together with Die Rothschild and Der ewige Jude, both released in 1940, the film remains one of the most frequently discussed examples of the use of film to further the Nazi anti-Semitic agenda. Did he direct those 2? Okay, no. Erich Waschneck and Der Ewige, who directed this? Fritz Hippler. Okay. Anyway, in the 2000s, 2 documentary films and a drama were released that explore the history and impact of the film. Okay, so we need to do this. We need to talk about this. This is heavy. This is heavy, and this is not easy to talk about. Again, World War II, an absolute horrific mess. Nazi Germany, an absolute horrific mess. The horrors committed by the Nazis. And I say Nazis, I'm hesitant to say Germans, because again, there were probably plenty of German people who didn't really even believe in what their government was doing, the Nazi party, but they needed to keep their mouths shut in order to not suffer the consequences of not keeping their mouth shut. That's how totalitarian regimes work. You don't have an opinion. You do what you're told. You go to your job and pay your taxes and your bills, and you just hope for the best. Really. That's why, the actors, involved in this movie, when they say, they did it under duress. I don't, if you're not clear on how I feel about that, I don't know if I believe them when they say they did it under duress. Okay. I don't know. I don't know if I believe them. And again, Susan Teagle, she kind of nails it. It's crass and self-serving. They did the movie. They knew what they were doing when they were doing it. And then after, when push came to shove, oh no, they were doing it under duress. That is crass and self-serving. But again, yes, I don't 100% believe them when they say they were doing it under duress. But at the same time, they were actors who wanted to work. Were they Nazis? Did they believe in the Nazi ideology? I don't know. I don't know, and we can't tell. We can only judge them based on their actions. Okay? We don't know what was in their hearts. We judge people based on what they did, and they did this movie. Okay? They did this movie knowing what they were doing, thinking that Germany would win the war. That's why they did the movie. Okay? Yeah, they deserve to be judged for sure. Now, after Germany didn't win the war and they had to stand trial and answer for their actions, all of a sudden they changed their tune. Oh no, we did this under duress. We had no choice. Yeah, you had a choice. You could have not done it. You could have not done it. You could have not participated in something hateful. Period. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. But like I said, I don't say Germans, I say Nazis. Because there probably were some, at least a couple of German people at the time who were not on board with the Nazi platform. But again, it's difficult because even if you were not on board, if you were a German during that time in history, and you were not on board with the Nazi platform or their ideology, but you benefited from it, I just don't know what to think of you. I'm sorry. I can't. You don't get a free pass from me. You don't. You could do like my parents did. Okay, my parent, like I said, they were raised in a communist government, but they never became communists. It was possible. And, you didn't have to. You had a choice. There's always a choice. There's always a choice. And you make a choice based on your convictions and your morals. Okay, let me get off that soapbox. But anyway, so this movie was about this Oppenheimer person, Joseph Seuss Oppenheimer, 18th century court Jew, Duke Karl Alexander of Württemberg and Stuttgart, financial advisor to the Duke. He gained a prominent position at the court and held the reins of the finances in his duchy. He established a duchy monopoly on the trade of salt, leather, tobacco, and liquor, and founded a bank and porcelain factory. In the process, he made multiple enemies who claimed, among other things, that he was involved with local gambling houses. When Karl Alexander died suddenly, okay, we already kind of covered this. He was sentenced to death. Okay, he refused to convert to Christianity. Good for him. Why would you? Like, why would you? Everybody knew he was Jewish. He wasn't trying not to be Jewish. Like, why would he all of a sudden, like, why did he, I don't understand that. Why would he want to, why would they even try to make him convert to Christianity? Unbelievable. But anyway, plot of the movie. Karl Alexander, Duke of Württemberg, a man much beloved by his Swabian people, is crowned duke and swears an oath to obey the laws of the duchy according to the traditional Württemberg loyalty and honesty. However, the duke soon becomes frustrated because the Württemberg Diet, the provincial council, refuses him the funds needed to maintain a lifestyle comparable to his neighboring sovereigns. In particular, he wants a personal bodyguard, an opera company, and a ballet company. What the hell? Okay, these are the excesses of the aristocracy. I am so sorry. Lacking funds even to purchase coronation gifts for the Duchess, the Duke sends a courtier to Frankfurt to borrow money from Joseph Seuss Oppenheimer. Seuss shows the emissary jewels and jewelry that are obviously beyond the Duke's means, and then says it would be his honor to provide the Duke with jewelry at a substantial discount. However, Seuss insists on presenting the items to the Duke personally, despite the Judendsperre. What is that? Oh! Okay, anti-Jew laws, a ban against Jews entering the city that has been in force for over a century. Okay. Armed with a pass from the Duke, Seuss cuts his hair, shaves his beard, and dons Christian, quote-unquote, Christian clothes so that he can enter Württemberg disguised as a Christian. Oh, this is horrible. This definitely is a propaganda piece, as you can see. The poor Duke who wants to live beyond his means, he needs to take a loan out from Joseph Seuss Oppenheimer, and they're already portraying Seuss as this, like, in this anti-Semitic film, they are portraying him as just this deceptive, sneaky person. Ay. Okay, I don't know if I want to read the rest of this. There's a lot of it too. So basically, I think this movie makes it look like Joseph Seuss Oppenheimer, like, put one over on Duke Karl Alexander. Even, I mean, mm-mm. I mean, because I see this story, I feel I still feel bad for Joseph Seuss Oppenheimer. Like, what did he do wrong? Again, in his biography, no, not that. In his biography, they can't tell us what he did wrong, why he was put on trial. That he was sentenced to death without naming any specific crime, and even in this movie, it's a propaganda piece. They're not telling you what really happened. I mean, I can just from skimming this, they're not telling you what really happened. I might have to do a separate video about this. I really must. Because obviously Stanley Kubrick was aware of this movie because his wife's uncle directed it. And the subject of this movie, the not the Duke, but the banker, Joseph Seuss Oppenheimer. You know, he's this figure that's villainized in this propaganda piece, but it seems to me like he did nothing wrong. I don't know. You guys tell me in the comments whether or not I'm missing something. Oh, Lord. There's a lot to think about here now, isn't there? Again, this character in this movie is named Oppenheimer. I think The Shining is... And I did not know. I promise you. I did not know about this until, like, yesterday. Yeah, yesterday, I think. About this film. I knew about, like, Stanley's connection through his wife to Nazi people or people who were serving the Nazi regime. But I didn't know, and I knew that there was something to do with the film industry, and Christiane came from like a theatrical family. That's about all I knew. Right up until about yesterday. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was yesterday. Okay. Did know nothing about this. That Christiane's uncle directed this movie about somebody named Oppenheimer. No idea. Absolutely no idea. Now here is that man's Wikipedia page. Christiane's uncle. Veit Harlan, 1899 to 1964, was a German film director and actor. Harlan reached the high point of his career as a director in the Nazi era, most notably his anti-Semitic film Jude Seuss makes him controversial. While viewed critically for his ideologies, a number of critics consider him a capable director on the grounds of such works as Opfergang. Okay. All right. He was born in Charlottenburg, Berlin, the son of the writer Walter Harlan and his wife Adele nee Boothby. His elder brother Peter was a multi-instrumentalist and musical instrument maker. After studying under Max Reinhardt, he first appeared on the stage in 1915, and after World War I worked in the Berlin stage. In 1934, he starred in the Berlin premiere of Eugene Ortner's tragedy Meyer Helmbrecht, but it was a critical disaster, and he later described it as his lowest point as an actor. He directed his first play. Okay. Listen to this, though. Okay. Unbelievable. Shortly afterwards, he directed his first play, The Marriage on the Pankey, at the Theater am Schiffbaudamm. In 1922, he married Jewish actress. Do you see why this is complicated now? In 1922, this guy, Veit Harlan, Christiane Kubrick's uncle, who directed the anti-Semitic film, as you saw in the description, one of the most anti-Semitic films of all time, Jude Seuss. That man married a Jewish woman. In 1922, he married Jewish actress and cabaret singer Dora Gerson. All right. I need to look her up. The couple divorced in 1924. Okay, so they had a 2-year marriage. Gerson was later murdered at Auschwitz with her family. In 1929, he married Hilde Kerber, having 3 children with her. In 1929, then divorcing her for political reasons. Oh my God! Wait a minute. I'm just reading this fresh. I've never read this before. He married Hilde Korber. Let me look up Hilde Korber. Okay. Okay. All right. Having 3 children with her, then divorcing her for political reasons related to the influence of Nazism. One of their children, Thomas Harlan, became a writer and director in his own right. In 1939, Veit married the Swedish actress Christina Söderbaum, for whom he wrote several tragic roles that included dramatic suicide scenes, increasing their popularity with the German cinema audience. Harlan had 2 children with Söderbaum. Okay, hold on. Was his second wife, Hilda, Jewish? Doesn't say. She was the second wife, and she had 3 children with him. Okay, and she died in oh my glasses, no, 69. Okay, doesn't say anything about her background, which is interesting. All right, interesting, but never mind. Okay, back to Veit Harlan. And then he married Christina Söderbaum. Wait a minute. She performed in Nazi-era films. Okay, so he wrote several tragic. So this guy was married 3 times. The first marriage was to a Jewish lady. So, like, how anti-Semitic can you be if you're married to a Jewish person? I mean that's like, why would you? If you feel that way, if you're like a racist, a bigot, an anti-Semite, or you just don't like Jewish people, like, why would you marry one? That's I don't understand. But Christina Söderbaum says nothing about her religion or her background. Okay. All right. Again, I'm going to have to look more into this at some other time. But anyway, he had 2 children with her. In the Nazi era, film critic David Thompson asserts that Harlan, having just started directing in 1935, was able to attract Goebbels' attention only because so much directorial talent had emigrated from Germany after the Nazis had taken over. Okay, so they saw what was going on. They saw the writing on the wall, and they left. And people like Veit Harlan were left over after that. Okay. By 1937, Joseph Goebbels had appointed Harlan as one of his leading propaganda directors. Okay. All right. His most notorious film was Jud Süß, made for anti-Semitic propaganda purposes in Germany and Austria. In 1943, it received UFA's, what is UFA? It don't say. Okay, it received UFA's highest award. Karsten Witte, the film critic, provided a fitting appellation for Harlan, calling him the Baroque fascist. Harlan made the Reich's loudest, most colorful, and expensive films. Okay. All right, post-war, he was charged with participating in the anti-Semitic movement and aiding the Nazis. He successfully defended himself. Okay, wait a minute. He successfully defended himself by arguing that the Nazis controlled his work, that he was obeying their orders, and that he should not be held personally responsible for the content. Again, I already explained to you, I can't just give him a free pass. He knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing. And okay, maybe, like I said, you don't marry somebody that you despise. Like, he married a Jewish woman, so if he was an anti-Semite, he wasn't very good at it because he married a Jewish lady. But at the same time, like, did he have a choice? If he wanted to be a film director and he was working in the 1930s, did he have a choice of working for the Nazis or not working for the Nazis? This is a question that needs to be explored and discussed. because these are not easy questions to answer. Do I his actions and the actions of anybody involved with making those films is saying something like, oh, I would, like it says here, the Nazis controlled his work. He was just following orders, like from the Nuremberg trial. Is that a good enough explanation? I don't think so. But at the same time, I need to look some more into this because I'm not satisfied. I'm not satisfied with this. This is not enough information. But in 1949, he was charged with crimes against humanity for his role as director of Jutsus, precisely the Oppenheimer film. The Hamburg Criminal Chamber of the Regional Court, Schwurgericht, controversially acquitted Harlan of the charges. Okay. This decision was upheld by the Court of the British Occupation Zone. Both acquittals remain controversial to this day, since the ruling judge had previously worked as a judge for the Nazi regime. What? Oh my God. Okay. And since Harlan's works had been proven to have contributed hugely to spreading the anti-Semitic sentiment in Germany, which enabled the Holocaust. Nazi camp guards who watched Jutsus, Jewish survivors told the court, had become crueler towards inmates afterwards, clearly affected by the propaganda contents which made them hate Jews more, although this allegation could not be proved. Well, the movie was made for a reason, obviously, and the point of propaganda is to get people riled up. So, there's that. The film was deemed in one court to be unsuitable and highly problematic, and to have contributed to enabling the anti-Semitism and genocides, but neither Harlan or his anti-Semitic supporters who insulted Jewish victims in the courts were ever sentenced. Like, what was the point of this trial is what I would like to know. They put him on trial, looks like it here, and they didn't sentence him because I guess there wasn't enough evidence? Or, whatever? They were never sentenced. So why were they there? Was sentencing just not an option? Or what? This is very, hard to follow here, for me, anyway. Okay, let me continue. In 1951, Harlan sued for an injunction against Hamburg politician Erich Luth for publicly calling for a boycott of Unterbliche Geliebte, Immortal Beloved. Oh, what the hell is that? Immortal Beloved. Oh, never mind. The district court in Hamburg granted Harlan's suit and ordered that Luth forbear from making such public appeals. However, the lower court decision was overturned in 1958 by the Federal Constitutional Court because it infringed on Luth's right to freedom of expression. This was a landmark decision because it clarified the importance of the constitutional civil rights in disputes between individuals. Okay, that's all legal stuff that I'm not really good at understanding, but I felt it was necessary to read it to you. Harlan made a total of 9 films between 1950 and 1958, so he worked. Okay, his involvement in this Nazi stuff, it didn't stop his career, which is interesting. He died in 1964 while vacationing in Capri. Well, okay. Let me read this because it mentions Christiane. Okay. Veit Harlan's son Thomas, an author and film director, created a semi-documentary film titled Wundekanal, Wound Passage, in which his father, played by a convicted mass murderer, is forced to undergo a series of brutal interrogations into his war crimes. What? Did I just read that right? Okay. Thomas Harlan's final publication, issued posthumously, Veit was a memoir in the form of a letter to his father, continuing the investigation into Veit Harlan's complicity in the Nazi regime. Okay. In 1958, Veit Harlan's niece, Christiane Suzanne Harlan, married filmmaker Stanley Kubrick, who was Jewish. She is credited, credited. She is credited by her stage name Suzanne Christiane Suzanne Christian in Kubrick's Paths of Glory 1957. She said she was ashamed to come from a family of murderers, but was relieved that Kubrick's Jewish family accepted her despite her ties to Harlan. Okay. They remained married until Stanley Kubrick's death in 1999. Suzanne Korber, one of his daughters from his second wife, Hilde Korber, converted to Judaism and married the son of Holocaust victims. She committed suicide, unfortunately, in 1989. Okay. My goodness. What do you guys think? I don't know what to think. I mean, I do. Christiane was embarrassed to be related to this guy. And I can't blame her. But at the same time, why am I here? Why am I here? I'm here because this dude, Veit Harlan, Christiane's uncle, made a movie, a very anti-Semitic, very highly publicized anti-Semitic movie in 1940 about a character, or not a character, a historical figure, named Joseph Zeus Oppenheimer. And again, am I reaching? That's why I need to hear and read your comments. I need help. When I found this, okay, I'll show you the Oppenheimer page. By the way, is this Oppenheimer related to J. Robert Oppenheimer? That I don't know. I haven't explored this very thoroughly. Okay, I haven't explored this very thoroughly. But the man who made that horrible movie about him, Veit Harlan, he made this movie about this Oppenheimer character. Like, you gotta wonder why he chose this subject matter for an anti-Semitic film. Like, because in this particular, from what I'm reading, you know, I see nothing wrong with this Oppenheimer character. Joseph Zeus Oppenheimer, I see nothing wrong. What did he do? They couldn't even, say why they were killing him, executing him. I guess he just, he made the mistake of getting too close to the aristocracy, just like Napoleon. And he died in 1738, so, well before Napoleon was around and doing his business. But is this all connected? Is this all connected in the Kubrick multiverse? Or, all the wormholes and all the parallel universes, and what we were talking about, that door with the exit. Is this all connected? Julius Robert Oppenheimer, Joseph Zeus Oppenheimer, Christiane's uncle, Veit Harlan, the Nazis, the Holocaust, World War II, the atrocities and horrors of what was going on at that time, Japan, the atomic bomb, the Manhattan Project, Nagasaki and Hiroshima, the secrecy of all of that, Vietnam. Here we have Full Metal Jacket in Vietnam. What is Stanley really trying to tell us? I believe this is a continuation of something to do with atomic energy in Full Metal Jacket. It might not be like the Manhattan Project, but it might be connected. I've been doing some research. I will present it to you in a couple of days. I think maybe I need some more time to turn the grilled cheese sandwich over and over and over in my head. Because I don't want to do a half-baked conspiracy theory, you guys. I really don't. I'm trying not to do that. And then why am I here today? This is an Eyes Wide Shut video. This is not a Full Metal Jacket video, even though we see Sergeant Hartman. That's another thing I wanted to tell you, or express to you, this possibility. Is Stanley himself comes from a Jewish family, Jewish for all intents and purposes, ethnically Jewish, even if he wasn't a practicing Jew, and with a family like that, with in-laws like that, Christiane and her uncle. Okay. Victor Ziegler. That's why we're here. Eyes Wide Shut and Victor Ziegler. Okay? Victor. I told you I'm Eastern European. I'm a Slav. I just told you. If I didn't tell you in previous videos, now you know. I can do that accent real well. Victor. Listen. What is Stanley saying? And again, this is the first time in my life researching this stuff that I have ever encountered the term court Jew. I didn't know this was a thing. You guys. Okay, but I'm here because of Victor Ziegler. All right? I'm here. This is what the video that's how we started. That's how we're going to finish, too. Okay. Victor Ziegler. Hold on. Let me find a picture of Mr. Ziegler. Ziegler. Okay, so I guess this is good enough, right? This is good enough. This is why we're here. This is why I did this video. Here's the pool table. He put a glass. What the hell is this? At the edge of the pool table. You don't do that. All right? You don't do... I remember I was at a pool hall one time, way back when, and they were serving drinks and whatever. I've had a drink, and like the owner of the place walked by me, said, don't let that glass get too close to the pool table because it'll damage the felt, and then you have to replace the whole thing. Whatever. Okay, he was being a jerk, but whatever. This is why we're here, Victor Ziegler. Now, again, I think that Stanley is making a statement about Jewish people in The Shining, Full Metal Jacket, okay, and, of course, why we're here today, Eyes Wide Shut, Victor Ziegler. Okay, there's a very high probability that Victor Ziegler is Jewish. Maybe even the Bill character, by the way. Possibly him, too. But what you don't know, maybe, about, if you haven't researched like I have, the Hartman character, he's named Sergeant Hartman, and maybe I said this the other day. He's named Sergeant Hartman. We don't know his first name. At least I don't. Sergeant Hartman in the movie. In the book, The Short Timers, by that nut job, Gustav Hasford, his name is Sergeant Gerheim. Again, that's a very frequent Jewish surname. Okay, so we got Ziegler, we got Gerheim, or, you know, a Hartman knee Gerheim in the source material knee. Okay, now, and who else we got? Stuart Ullman. Like I said, I think I said this in a recent video. Ullman is also a surname that is very frequently Jewish. And all three of those guys are the bosses of the person that we think we're seeing the movie through their perspective, whether it's Jack, whether it's Joker, and whether it's Bill. Okay? All right? Ullman, Hartman, Ziegler. They're the bosses in all three of those movies. They all happen to possibly be Jewish. Is Stanley... Yeah, and we don't like these characters. Like, I think Sergeant Hartman is kind of universally reviled. And so is Ziegler. Ullman, he's kind of shady too. And people just, you know, people who are really into The Shining generally don't like Ullman. They think he's up to no good. Okay. You know, that deleted scene with him in the fur coat or whatever that thing is. And he throws the ball to Danny. That means, yeah, he's been up to no good the whole time now, hasn't he? But what is Stanley trying to do with those characters and possibly making all three of them Jewish? Ullman, Hartman, Ziegler. He's trying to tell you something. If Nathan Abrams is right here, okay, he's showing us, Stanley, that the Jewish people have been scapegoated for obviously centuries. Okay? Here he is. Everybody blames the Jewish people for everything. I don't know why. I honestly don't know why. And I don't want to hear any bullshit in the comments. If I see any anti-Semitic bullshit, I'm deleting it. And that's that. You know, that's all you need to know. But like, why? Why are they scapegoated? And you know, even if they're not like, you know, they're not doing a particularly noble thing for a living, like if, you know, if for example, Ziegler, if he happens to be a procurer of naked ladies, prostitute hoes, okay, and oh, that means automatically he's the bad guy. I'm not saying he's perfect, but who is he working for? Who is he procuring the naked ladies for? Maybe we should take a look at them. Maybe we could take a look at them if we knew who they were, if they weren't hiding behind masks. So Nathan Abrams is making a connection between Ziegler and Joseph Seuss Oppenheimer. He's saying that the Ziegler character is the equivalent of the Oppenheimer character in this story from, you know, the late 17th, early 18th century. That is the basis of this horribly anti-Semitic movie, directed by Veit Harlan Seuss, Christiane's uncle. And he's saying that Ziegler and Joseph Seuss Oppenheimer are kind of equivalents. That Ziegler represents that Joseph Oppenheimer. And we scapegoat Jewish people. Why? What did they do? Even if they did something wrong, they did it because they were working for somebody like much worse than they are. Who he said, and Abrams, I'm agreeing with him on a good number of things. He said, like, the way Ziegler says those people, those are not his people. He works for them. He manages their money and procures prostitutes for them. That's what he does. Is that like a very noble thing to do? No. No, it isn't. But who are those people? That's the mystery. Same thing with The Shining and Ullman. Our people in Denver. Who the hell is that? Who the hell are their people in Denver? With regard to Hartman, who is he working for? Well, the U.S. government. Okay. He's just a gunnery sergeant. He's just a drill instructor. He's the authority figure in this situation, but in the grand scheme of things, he's very low on the totem pole with regard to the government and the Department of Defense and the whole thing. So these men, these characters, even though, you know, they're viewed as villainous or maybe their activities are not altogether okay, they're not the problem. It's the people who employ them. They're the problem. Who are they? We need to take their masks off. They've been and Stanley is basically telling us Jewish people have been scapegoated for centuries, maybe millennia. And for what? Why? Who did they hurt? Who did they hurt? And even if they're doing less than awesome things, it's like they're working for the people who are represented in the paintings in this, you know, what is this? His den or whatever with the pool table. That's what Abrams is saying. And I kind of agree with him. Those people. Those people. Okay, so you guys, I told you this was not going to be an easy video for me to make. I've been talking almost 2 hours. Oh, I don't know how many cups of coffee y'all had. I'm due for another coffee break, so I think I'm going to wrap it up for this one. I don't know. I mean, this is a lot, isn't it? This is a lot. And people who do Stanley Kubrick videos or Stanley Kubrick analysis, I need to read some more of Abrams' stuff because this looks pretty interesting. At least the stuff that he writes related to Stanley Kubrick. And he has a category here. It says categories, film, and then Kubrick. Okay. I'm going to have to look at everything he's written about Stanley Kubrick. You guys, tell me what you think. This is heavy. This is heavy. But I knew eventually I would need to address this. And I knew eventually that I would need to address this and make this video and try to make sense of this. This is a mess. This is an absolute mess. Stanley Kubrick is not easy to study. I don't know if you noticed. But, and like I said, I rarely, I don't know if I won't say that I never have. Maybe I have and I've forgotten about it. But I don't see too often, I haven't seen in the past too often, people address this issue when it comes to Kubrick. Christiane, her uncle, the horrible anti-Semitic movie he made. And I for sure didn't know that it was about this character. Somebody named Oppenheimer. No. Okay. And then Veit Harlan's career as a filmmaker, and after the Second World War. I didn't know none of that. I didn't even know what a court Jew was. Okay. And then Kubrick married Christiane knowing who her uncle was. Like, what the hell? I still don't quite know what to think of that. Christiane obviously she's made a statement saying that she's ashamed of her family for being murderers. Whew, that's heavy. That's very heavy. Okay, Oppenheimer. There he is. Oppenheimer. Stuart Ullman. Okay. Sergeant Hartman, also known as Sergeant Gerheim. And last but not least, Victor Ziegler. Okay. Victor Ziegler. What is going on? What is going on? Please tell me what is going on. I don't know what to think. I mean, this is going to take some time. This is a grilled cheese sandwich that's not going to be easy to flip. All right? Tell me what you all think. Tell me, have I lost my mind? What were the odds of me finding Oppenheimer in the background of Stanley Kubrick's wife's family? With regard, there's a subject matter that Veit Harlan did a movie about, Josef Zeuss. Oppenheimer. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think. And like I said, thank you so much, because I appreciate you all. Need to know, Richard, all of you, Gershom, especially Gershom, because we have the most amazing conversations about so many things. You guys and your enthusiasm for this subject matches my enthusiasm and helps me, helps propel me, helps fuel my efforts here. Okay, so I am so grateful. So I hope you enjoyed the coffee. This was a real deep, dark cup of coffee now, wasn't it? So thank you for being here. Thank you for watching, if you're watching. Returning viewers, thank you for returning. New viewers, thank you for being new. Subscribers, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate all of you so much. I want you all to comment. I want to hear what all of you have to say, or read what all of you have to say. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share the video if you know anybody who might be interested in my madness. Okay. Please don't forget to hit the notification bell. All right, so you can get notified every time I make a new video. Especially want to read your comments. Please don't forget to like. I appreciate you. I appreciate you a lot. Can't wait to see what you have to say about this. Have I lost my mind? Am I lost in my own head? What's going on? I don't know anymore. Not that I ever knew. Not that I was ever sure of what's going on. But this is getting weirder and weirder and weirder. Okay? I don't know quite what to make of this. So you all, once again, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. And until next time, I'm going to do a real heavy duty FMJ video next time. I got shit to do. We have much to discuss, people. We have much to discuss, and it's going to be, I don't know if I'm just going to focus on FMJ, or like, is it going to be a melange of FMJ, Shining, Eyes Wide Shut? I don't know. But until next time, you guys, until I find yet another reason to talk at you in one of these videos, I'm going to go ahead and bid you bye-bye. So, bye-bye, everybody.